Hello and welcome back to Fujitsu World Tour London 2018, where we continue to bring you the inside track by vertical. So if you're a technologist in retail, for example, and you want to understand the challenges that are taking place within retail and the very conversations you should be having at a board level, you simply go and find our Facebook Live on retail. Hopefully, we'll furnish you with some of that insight. We've ventured outside where we've come to look at this gem. This is Bloodhound. She's going to be attempting to set a new land speed record in 2020. We're told she's capable of going up to 1,000 miles per hour. Engineering feats like this rely on wonderful STEM skills, research, analysis, understanding. I mean, there's so much that goes in to produce a piece of equipment like this. It's probably why it's going to take 2 years for the land speed record to go, hopefully. With me to discuss academia, we've got Judith Millar, Business Development Manager from CSIT, Neil Mansfield, who's Professor and Head of Engineering at Nottingham Trent University, and Andy Seferta, Head of Ecosystem from Fujitsu. Thank you all for taking the time to come and talk to us. There's been a bit of a theme with all the interviews we're doing. Technology is changing, society's being advanced. That presents challenge and opportunity to businesses and academia. I guess there's a few challenges afoot for all of your organisations.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in a changing world. You look at politics or people or technology, and they're all changing. And to predict where we're going to be in 20 years' time, let alone 200 years' time, is really, really tricky. So we're working in that space. I mean, I'm trying to produce graduates who are ready not only for the day they graduate, but they're ready for their entire careers. And so we're kind of trying to crystal ball gaze in some extent to see what does industry need, what are they going to need not only today, but into the future.
I guess change brings about its own sort of challenge within business, Judith. I guess some organisations and businesses know they need to change, they understand they need to change, but actually delivering that change, that's not always easy, right?
Absolutely. So CSIT is part of Queen's University in Belfast, obviously looking at how we train graduates today for a changing workplace. And that includes all of us, because we're all going to still hopefully be in work within the next 20 years. So how do universities actually help to upskill and reskill people in a changing world, which includes older people in work as well as 18 to 21-year-old students. Universities are increasingly being tasked with impact, and that's economic and social impact. And that's always been the case, universities as engines of social change. And certainly for us at Queen's University, and especially with CSIT, we've looked at how really we can use that to really build the cluster and a cybersecurity ecosystem within Northern Ireland, which has resulted in international investment success, as well as our own companies exporting and doing well.
We were talking earlier with the hybrid IT team, and they raised the point that it's not just technology change that has to be addressed, but the cultural change that brings about, particularly if you've got older stakeholders that are used to technology and a way of working. Does that need to evolve and change to embrace new staff coming through? So what are the cultural impacts that change brings about?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of culture, if we look back, I mean, my university is 175 years old next year. No, 175 years ago, what existed? I mean, it predates companies like Fujitsu, it predates almost everything. But education is still going to be here. People were still falling in love and people were still dying. Yeah, this is just normal humanity. And I think that element of culture will remain with us even long after we're gone. Yeah, and I think that's what we need to be really aware of, that actually what drives people isn't so much the technology, it's what they're going to do with it. What drives people. You see the growth of even the classics like Facebook and other social networking. Actually it's about culture rather about the technology that underlies it. Without that cultural element to it, those things would not have been a success. So we need to remember that we're not about creating tech for tech's sake. We're about improving the well-being of the world, improving the lives of the users of that tech.
Andy, let's bring you in here. I mean, that's a great point to pick up with Fujitsu. So, human-centric innovation, I know sort of Fujitsu built their whole business on that. I mean, how has Fujitsu had to evolve to actually meet these challenges afoot?
So we stood We're stood by a bloodhound, and we have to move faster now than we've ever moved before. And as Neil says, Fujitsu is a mere 83 years old, and we expect to be around in the next 83 years and beyond. But we have to move fast, and as part of doing that, we need to engage with organisations in a different way. So I'm delighted that Neil and Judith are here to represent our engagements with the universities. Now, our ecosystem approach means that it's not just about looking at how can we be better at working with the universities for skills and employability. We need to deepen our relationships and partnerships. We need to look at where we can have tangible outcomes and value through those relationships, and that's through working together, through sharing knowledge, joint research and impactful projects that make a difference in business. So I'm genuinely excited about our relationships moving forward.
I know your organisations and businesses are very much on the front foot with this. I guess there are those within the sector who perhaps aren't, though, and they need to be doing more. What are the threats if a body isn't recognising the need for change and moving their technology on, Judith?
I guess it's a relevance. In order to stay relevant, you need to understand the market you're in. And to Andy's point, what customers want, it's not about the technology. That's simply a tool to really achieve what the underlying need is. I suppose, and actually to Andy's point, on university engagement, so we're looking at the moment the new Centre for Doctoral Training call in the UK, something like that, where you've got industry, that takes place over 8 years. We're trying to guess now, in the business world, 5 years is long term. So it's really important that we have industry engagement to ensure that those students come out really just well trained, but also relevant to industry need. And that's really important to have industry informing those challenges, give students exposure, maybe take their research to the companies and show what they've done to get that feedback and make sure that everything is as real world relevant as possible.
There'll be a number of your colleagues and peers watching this. If there was one message that you could impart today to sort of help them on this journey, what would it be?
It's definitely around continued engagement and collaboration, and that's at all stages of the life cycle of the university. That's both in informing the type of content that we deliver in courses. 20 years ago we had really 2 courses in technology. We had computer science and a business IT version of that. Today, things like user-centric design is a discipline in its own right, software development, computer engineering, there's just so many disciplines, and that is going to continue to fragment, and that gets quite difficult, obviously, for students in keeping them relevant. So the message about engagement and collaboration, both at the academic end and education and also in research.
Andy, same question.
Our theme this year at Fujitsu is co-creation for success. We talk about human-centric innovation. What we really mean, and we use the words of President Tanaka-san from Fujitsu, he used in our message for this year. He talks about Fujitsu exists for the happiness and well-being of people. So I genuinely believe that if we can impact people in the workplace as well as wider than that in the home environment, mentally and physically, through what we can do, that has all sorts of implications through work, home and wider society. That's what we're about.
And Neil, same question. What would be your piece of advice to your colleagues and peers?
I think we need to look forward at improving society, well-being for society. If we look backwards, engineering products, that's what turned us from cave dwellers into modern society. And the great ideas are the ones that have carried on going, from clothing right the way through to transportation, through to communication. And those elements, they're enabling us to be better people. I think as we look forward, what we want to be doing is to be creating an engineering products that are going to be great for society. They're not just going to end up in landfill. Things that are sustainable, things that are going to improve the well-being of us and ensure the sustainability of the planet we live in.
Well, those engineering achievements is a great place to end, especially as we're stood next to Bloodhound. As always, if you have any questions on academia, do drop us a note on our social channels. We will put them to the team here. We will get those questions addressed for you. Thank you all for taking the time to come and speak to us this morning. There's plenty more to come from Fujitsu World Tour London throughout the day. Thanks for watching.